Wonderful. Welcome to the Caesars Forum. As we dive into the world of finance, real estate, and law, let us remember that this conference marks the beginning of a new journey, one that is defined by progress, innovations, and growth. We have got a lot in store for you, including thought provoking, downstepping sessions to explore single insights from thought leaders. But before we get into the deliberations, I would like us to convey our sincere appreciation to our silver sponsors, which is Finite Business Solutions, LLC, and Callagee Law, and our bronze sponsor, which is Equity First, LLC, for bringing this event to life. Also, the lanyards on the Law 2.0 conference attendees are wearing are sponsored by the Cameroon Union of Young Lawyers. Remember to stay connected on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever social medias you have to spread the excitement worldwide of the conference that we're having. Be sure to use the hashtag MoRE F2023 and hashtag Law2Con F2023 to spotlight your enjoyable moments on our social media platforms. Now let's kick off the much awaited session of day one. And if everybody knows, has been looking forward to embarking on this journey together. Okay. Now I have two questions for you. Are you tired of being at the mercy of the real estate market? Do you feel like just going with the flow and making any real progress in your achievements and investments? If yes, then it's time to take control and make your investments work for you. In this session on Stop Responding to the Real Estate Market and Start Driving It, our esteemed speaker, Mr. John G. Stevens, he is the founder and publisher of Weekly Real Estate News, and he will explore innovative strategies that go beyond reacting to the market and instead empower us to actively shape and influence them. Okay, let's give a big round of applause for John Stevens.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that great introduction. And how's everybody doing in Vegas so far? You've been here just today, overnight? Yeah. All right. Well, I like to pace around as I talk. Microphone okay? It keeps going in and out, doesn't it? All right. Well, I apologize, but isn't that, technology makes life easier, but I've yet to see it, right? I don't know about the rest of you. So, all right. So who in here, attorneys? Law 2.0, right there. Okay, 2 in the back. All right, everybody else here, real estate agents? Finance? Couple in here. What is the rest doing in here then? I would love to know. Just speak out. What's the rest of you doing in here? What is it? Okay, investor? Wonderful, wonderful. Anybody else would like to volunteer? I'm not going to voluntold anyone. Yes. Oh, and that is probably the most important role of anybody in here. I'll tell you what. If everybody asks me, how is it you're able to go around the entire world speaking? I also speak on social media. I speak on the trend. And it's really interesting. Yeah, we might have to move to a handheld, huh? You'll see how multi-talented I am, holding 3 things at the same time. All right. What's that? Said sorry. Yeah. So we're going to switch from, she's his wife. His wife, yes. All right, so tell me once you switch over. All right, can everybody hear me a little bit better now without that white noise in the back? Perfect. So I was just saying, most important role, I travel all around the world speaking, talking with people, whether it be about news, whether it be about social media, or whatever is going on in our world right now. And they say, how do you do it? Because I have 4 kids at home, run about 8 different companies on the boards and things like that. I says, honestly, this one's not going to work much either, is it? So she makes everything possible, and so I applaud. I think everybody should do a big round of applause for her right here, for being here and helping out and supporting. So a few years back, I was on a flight, and I don't know if any of you like talking to the people, the strangers next to you. I'm that guy. I'm the one who leans over, hey, what book you reading, right? Or what are you typing up? I'm the guy that they invented those screens for where nobody 2 feet to the left or right can actually see what you're typing. Okay, that's me. And I was sitting next to this lady. She was probably in her mid-60s, early 70s. And we're sitting there, and I lean over and I was like, hey, what you doing? She kind of looked up nervously. I'm typing. I said, okay, great. What you typing about? She says, well, I'm typing in an article. And she became increasingly aggravated that this goofy-looking guy next to her is asking her these questions. And finally I says, listen, I apologize. I'm not hitting on you. I'm just sincerely interested in what you're doing. And behind us, sitting right behind her, there was an older gentleman, starts laughing, big belly laugh. Well, it was her husband. And he just thought that was the funniest thing in the world. Well, come to find out, these are the two that invented and created Wired magazine. Anybody heard of that magazine? Okay, kind of a, small magazine, right? And they were talking about they had sold it for quite a bit of money, and they were moving on, and they were starting to talk about their next venture. And we had a great conversation the rest of the flight about what they were doing and how they were doing it. Well, it got me to thinking, what's missing in the profession that I'm in? So I'm the past president of the National Association of Mortgage Brokers. So the 900,000 plus loan officers nationwide, that's who I represented. I'd fly to Congress every month. I go out, interview Mike Pence's chief economist, things like that, things that, once again, kind of sort of matter, right? I remember, for those of you in finance, heard of the CFPB? Anybody raise your hand? Okay. Just so everybody knows, the CFPB, if you give her $5, they actually have oversight over you. Did you guys know that's actually the law? Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Or as my friend calls it, country fried peanut butter. And so I'm sitting there meeting with them, and I actually blamed them for high interest rates on low homes. Because a typical broker or lender, if they lend anything under $60,000, they can't do it. Did you guys know that? So there's actually loan limits for those of you in finance, right? And so who do they go to? They go to the banks, and the banks love it. Because guess what they get to do? They get to say, I'm the only ones who can do it. I'm the only ones who can lend on this. And what do? They charge a higher interest rate. They charge higher fees. And who does that harm? People who can afford homes under $60,000. I remember I'm sitting in front of Mick Mulvaney's entire staff. He was the director of the CFPB. And they went red in the face, and then they went white in the face. My attorney next to me is like, John, what are you doing? I said, give me a second. I went through and I explained it and talked with them. And we ended up leaving that room, not only with them excited about the changes they were going to enact, which actually did happen, but we made progress and made it work. So in an environment that most people would have said is harmful to lending, right? What did we do? We went in, we talked with them, we made it happen. We didn't respond to the real estate. We started driving it, because that's what you need to do in today's world. A lot of people right now, so weekly real estate news, right? We started that after I talked with them. We built it up to 1.6 million subscribers. People are kind of interested in what we're doing, right? We're writing our own news every single day. We're going through and making things happen. Our advertisers absolutely love it because of our open rates. We'll talk about that kind of stuff later. But what we're doing is we're helping people drive the real estate market, especially today. Anybody think the real estate market's better today than it was a year ago? Raise your hand. Bueller. Right? Okay. So what's going on right now is there's a severe downturn. Everybody knows that. In the mortgage and real estate, just look at the data. So I'm going to go through with everybody here right now and talk about it. Okay? Home prices are rising faster than income. Anybody want to dispute this slide? If you can't tell, I love it when people interact during presentations. It makes it so much more fun. Okay? So if you have any questions, raise your hand. Let me know. Otherwise, I'm just going to bore myself. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to go crisscross applesauce with my legs and just stare at the screen myself, right? So, all right, so as we're going through here, you can see in 2021, sales price growth through the roof. I was talking with my new friend in the back there about LA. Anybody here from the LA market? Okay, woo, right there. I love it, I love it. So we've got a home in Playa del Rey. I'm from Utah, but in Playa del Rey, beautiful 5-minute walk from the beach. We bought it for $712,000 3 years ago, and at the height, almost $1 million for a 1,050 square foot place, but close to the beach, right? Then it plummeted again. Why? Because everybody said it was too much, and it dropped back down to 750. Now we're back up to 900,000. That's 3 years worth, up and down and up and down. Next up, we go through and we see the forecast year over year. This is pulled from the realtors. So current right now, rising 2%. Forecast is a 4.6% increase in home values. Fewer homes coming up for sale. A lot of people ask me, they say, okay, John, what's going on right now? Are we going to have another bubble burst? Who here, once again, there's no wrong answers. There's just misinformed answers. Okay, who here thinks there's a bubble forming in our market right now? Anybody? Okay, why not? Anybody want to help answer that one? Lack of supply, right? Interest rates are rising. I'm one of those unpopular people. I actually told people we need to be back up to 12% interest rate on homes. Did you know that's a sign of a healthy economy? Honestly, the fact that interest rates have been so low for so long is actually hurting and is a severe negative to the United States economy. 1/5 of the United States economy is real estate. Did you guys know that? 1/5. If you take all of the real estate agents, all of the builders, the Home Depots, the Lowe's, all of that, 1/5. And so when you have low interest rates, when you have people buying up all the inventory, what happens? All of a sudden prices keep going up and up and up, and then no one qualifies. Next thing you know, they're building apartments everywhere, and those apartments are not for sale, they're for rent, right? It's all this big cycle. All right, this is the one I love the most. Top markets at risk of home price decline. Anybody here live in any of these areas? I live in number 2. We saw our home there that we bought pre-COVID, acre, 5,930 square feet for $750,000. It's now valued at $1.8 million. We renovated it in 2019. Anybody want to know the difference in normal price growth? Who here knows how much the home values in the United States should go up every year? 3%. Anybody want to take a wild stab at what the price growth is? 3%. Raise your hand. Anybody? Yes. 3%. How did you know that? That's amazing. Everybody, big round of applause in the back there. 3%. Spot on. I love it. I love it. So 3%. So now because everything has exploded so much, they're actually talking that you're going to have a 70% probability of decline in Provo-Orem, Utah. Go Cougars, right? BYU, part of the Big 12 now? No Cougar fans in the room? All right. We'll stay there. Home prices remain elevated. Median sales price up slightly in February after peaking in May 2022. So prices are coming back up. Once again, it's because of this gentleman over here, lack of inventory. There's not enough. So I'm not trying to sit here and be doom and gloom, okay? I know a lot of these slides we're going through and everybody's like, great, thank you. We all understand that we are suffering. We all understand that prices everywhere are going down except for, look in the far right there, Miami. What's that old Will Smith song? Going to Miami, right? Everybody like that? Okay, am I showing my age here? All right, all right. So Houston going up 4.5, Miami going up 13.2, Chicago 3.4, Las Vegas negative 4.1. Wild guess why? Remember they called it the Great Emigration out of California. Everybody remember reading about that in the news? Everybody's leaving California. Everybody's going everywhere else. And then I remember I talked with my business partner. He lives in Torrance. And he said, oh, just wait, John, they'll all go back. I said, all right, let's see. And I said, why do you think, though? He goes, well, they'll experience their first winter, and then they'll move back. And guess what's happening? They're moving back to California. So a lot of these places, Denver, Idaho, Utah, places like that, why is there a decline in values? Because Utah just had an 8-month winter. Yeah, isn't that crazy? I live there. I live in Highland, Utah. It's beautiful. I love it. My main office is in Hawaii, and I tell everybody I live in heaven and I work in paradise, right? It's amazing. If you want to go, look up after we leave here today and look at Alta, Utah. The snow was so deep, it broke all records in the history of snow in Utah. In fact, you know the ski lifts, everybody here familiar? I should never assume. Familiar with ski lifts? They're kind of really high up in the sky. The snow was so deep that the ski lifts were buried in the snow. So they couldn't even run. So 8-month winter, yeah, we're moving back to LA, right? So you're looking at that, so you'll see the prices go back up in California coming up, okay? But as we keep going along, there is some good news that I'm going to get to here, because everybody, I can see they're starting to cry out in the audience. They're worried, they're concerned. But this is actually from the Realtor.com forecast, and I think this is incredibly important for everybody to understand. Right now, mortgage rates, they were saying that it would be a 4% average. That's historical rate, 2013 through 2019. 7.4 is what they estimated, and they readjusted it to 7.5. On my drive to the airport yesterday, I saw a billboard, right? And it had that automatic ticker there because they want to make sure they always have the lowest interest rate showing so people can refinance. 7.1% interest. Whoa, life is horrible, right? My first home, 7.5, and I was thrilled. 7.5. And we were so excited to get our home. But the big difference here is our first home was $105,000. 7.5 on 105, palatable. 7.5 on a 1.8 million. Okay. So as long as homes continue to keep going up in price and interest rates have to go up, have to. That's critical for our economy to be successful. I cannot overstate this. If anybody disagrees, raise your hand, and I would love. Yes, you think interest rates don't have to go up. Okay, and that's a very interesting. So for those of you who didn't hear, she's saying it's the other way around. If the economy is doing well, then interest rates will go up. And I'm here to say, lovingly and kindly, I disagree with you, because economy grows and shrinks based on interest rates, not the other way around. And the reason for that, and that's why you see the Feds raising interest rates right now. Why? Because of inflation. If they don't raise the interest rates, then inflation continues to go up. Who here spent a lot more on their July 4th barbecue than they did the year prior? Okay? We just bought a bottle of A1 in Utah. $7.50 for a bottle of A1. Crazy. Anybody here buy A1 anymore? Am I the only one? All right, you buy A1. It's $7.50. That sounds outrageous, right? Okay, I love it. South Dakota, so you appreciate A1 then, right? Okay, I love that. So what used to be a $2.50 bottle a couple years ago is now $7.50, to give you a really good idea. So inflation, it's hitting you. In fact, one thing I love, I interviewed the chief economist for then Vice President Mike Pence. And the way they look at inflation is the price of a gallon of milk. As milk goes up in price, everything else goes up in price, right? Because this is something that's life-sustaining. People need milk, just kind of like water. So they go through and they see this. And so when you see interest rates going up, it's a sign of a healthy economy. When you see interest rates jumping up and soaring up, that's a sign of a failed system that didn't raise interest rates fast enough to curb inflation. All right, moving along here. Sometimes the clicker. So what comes down as we go through here, a lot of people, they react, right? Have you guys seen that, especially in today's politically charged environment? Companies may do a commercial, and I'm not here to get political. Those are not my business cards laid out over every table and every chair, okay? But people react. They do a commercial, and all of a sudden they're like, whoops, and then they pull back. Or other companies say, oh, I saw that commercial, I want to do this commercial, okay? Unfortunately, by reacting rather than considering an appropriate response, we temporarily solve the symptom. Anybody heard about a Band-Aid solution? Right? Okay, we all learned that back in elementary school. We have an issue, we put a Band-Aid on it, it stops the bleeding, but the infection grows. So as a company, we have to stop reacting to what's going on. We talked about a lot of stuff going on in the real estate market right now, right? It's very easy to do a knee-jerk reaction and say, okay, we need to do this change, we need to do that change. I need to fire every single underwriter that exists within my company and survive off 2. That was in the news the other day. We reported on that, right? 60,000 loan officers have been let go. Why? Because people are reacting, okay? They don't know how to use the tools of today. So reaction, critical error of what people do. Next up, we have respond. We know how important it is, obviously, to respond to events. Anybody here had to respond in the last 6 years to any worldwide cataclysmic event? Anybody raise your hand? Yeah, we may have had that happen. So by responding instead of reacting, that allows your business to stay in business, right? You had some companies who took advantage of the situation and created product that allowed them to not only stay in business, but flourish, right? Anytime there's a downturn in the economy, anytime there's an issue in the economy, the people who double down and respond to the situation come out as market leaders. That's what you're doing here today, right? Are we in a down economy right now when we talk about real estate specifically? Is it a down economy? Everybody's scared right now. They don't dare raise their hand. Remember, there's no wrong answers. Yes. What do you think? I love that. I love that. I remember years ago I was talking with my dad. I was like, Dad, what should I do for work? Yeah, people don't ask that anymore, do they? And I said, Dad, what should I do for work? And he was sitting there and he's like, you know what, Johnny? That's my nickname, Johnny. He goes, Johnny, find something that people can't live without. Okay. That's a great response. That's a wonderful response. Then I went and talked to my debate coach. And his dad at the time was taking dirt from Utah and selling it to the Japanese. Dirt from Utah. They were expanding their island. They would take and they dump off the edge, the trash, cover with dirt, more filler, more dirt. The guy was a multimillionaire. So I started thinking about, okay, what can't you create more of? You can't create more land. You can't create more dirt. Anybody has that solution, you'll be a trillionaire overnight, okay? But at the end of the day, prices when they go up is because people don't want to build up. Think of it. If you live in a valley and it's full of homes, what's going to happen? Prices either skyrocket, someone tears down and builds apartment complexes or condos or townhomes. These are ways that you respond to the market. So yes, I agree. Right now, we're in a downtime because of supply. If we had enough supply, I do believe the market would keep churning and growing. So in my opinion, I always love it when speakers, look how amazing I am. I have my own quote on a screen. You should all quote this relentlessly going forward. But I really do like this. To thrive, you must drive. Okay? All of the great innovators in the world, they didn't sit back and say, oh, you know what? I love the way we have our new candelabras. Candelabra 3.0, it's straight lines instead of curved, right? No, they invented the light bulb. Okay? They went on, invented cars, trains, automobiles. I tell a lot of people in the lending world, we're no longer in carriages and candles, right? We're in rockets. I just mentioned 3 companies there for those of you in the lending world, okay? But even rockets, we're beyond now. We have billionaires who are sending dummies in a car into space and taking photos of it. Why? Because they're continuing to drive. Uh-oh. Someone in the back got mic'd up. Get ready for it. So as we go forward and as we're driving this market and we're innovating, look at Apple right now with their new VR. You're going to have a screen over your eyes that then show your eyes to people. $3,500. Can't you just show them your eyes, right? And yet I'm so geeked out over this new innovation. I love the fact that I'm going to be able to do there. And why was it done? Because Facebook came out before they were Meta and started working on their own AR and VR. My buddy worked for Ernst & Jones out in Wisconsin and got hired over to Facebook. And I remember at the time we were talking, and he goes, John, you won't believe what Mark Zuckerberg's working on. Has nothing to do with social media. It was their Meta. It was their VR. Because that's the future, right? If you ever want to look at a business, whether or not it's going to thrive or they're just surviving, are they innovating to become the next? Are they coming up with a new product? Or are they just holding on and hoping they have enough money to continue forward? Now, one of the big things you have to do, pump up your advertising, okay? People see you, they know you're still around, especially after COVID. How many of you, and let's be brutally honest here, have not seen a commercial or an advertisement for a company, you wonder if they're even in business anymore? Have you done that? Yeah, I have. Okay? Where did Jack in the Box go? Well, they're advertising again, right? Okay? But you look at that. If you're not advertising in today's world, you're gone. Advertising can be something as simple as social media going through. It can be something as large as billboards or national spending on TV. Hulu allows you to advertise through them now. okay? You need to stay in the game. Who here loves sports? Raise your hand. Football, soccer, let's go USA. Anybody watch the game last night? They win in the penalty shootout. Oh, my daughter just made the national team for DPL, representing the U.S. So over Thanksgiving, we're going, thank you, to London to play in Wembley Stadium. So super, super proud of her and everything. I tell her you need to be vocal. She's the goalie. Anybody here a goalie parent or played goalie? Yeah, my life insurance, my health insurance, I have like 3 heart attacks a game. It is horrible, and I'm so proud of her. But at the end of the day, she has to be vocal. She's that coach on the field. She's making sure the players know where to go, where to be. Right? She's staying in the game. If she's not vocal, if she's not out there directing, guess what her coach will do? Take her out of the game. Is your company being vocal? Are you out there making sure that people know you're here? Or are you out there being that goalie, too many things in my hands, who makes sure that you're going to get taken out? Market leaders always make sure they're vocal. Market leaders always make sure they're right vocal. So one of my favorite quotes, and I love it for 2 reasons. Marilyn Monroe, who cares if they're talking about us? They're talking about us, right? I love that. But at the same time, make sure they're talking about you for the right reason. You do not want people talking about you because you've gone out. I remember one guy, he owned a computer laptop thing in Utah. Made the news because he was out there paragliding, filming it, and kicked an owl. Horrible. And then he posted on social media because he thought it was funny. Well, guess what? People are talking about him, and he lost his business. He lost his job. Very successful until that moment. So make sure that what you're posting, what you're sharing, what you're doing is good. In a good economy, advertise, right? Who here had great marketing budgets when the economy was good? None of you. Okay. That's why we're here today, to learn. All right. In a bad economy, advertise. Anybody want to take a wild guess, 20%, of what my company spends on advertising during good and bad? Raise your hand. Anybody want to know? Yes. 20%? How did you know? If I had a giveaway, I would throw and give you one right now. Okay? 20% during the good times and during the bad times. Because during the bad times, if you're spending money on good advertising, when we come out of those bad times, you are going to be a market leader. People are going to know exactly where you are, what you're doing, and how you're doing it. And the more you get out there with the right message at the right time to the right people, then you're going to be heads and shoulders above everybody else. Because now you're not just a company, you're a leader. Now you're not just a company, you're a thought leader. All these buzzwords people use now, right? You get out there and you make sure you share these with everybody. And the other important thing is, a lot of people, they spend all this money when times are good, right? We're going to go out there, we're going to sponsor a baseball stadium. We're going to go out there, we're going to sponsor magazines. We're going to go to a conference and network. And then times get tough and then you quit doing it. That's essentially throwing money down the drain. Are you only worth as much as your good times? Really think about that. What's your personal value? Are you only worth something if the economy's good? Are you only worth something if you're having a good day? Someone asked me a long time ago, they says, hey, if you could go back, and you've now heard this all over social media, but if you could go back and would you change every mistake you've ever made? And I was in this room and everybody's like, oh yeah, I'd change this. I'd change that. And they got to me, and I says, no, I wouldn't change a thing I did. I wouldn't change a single mistake that I made. No leader says that. Right? And so people started asking why. And I says, because every mistake I made got me here today. Every failure I did made sure that I had successes today. So think about this. When your employees make mistakes, are they better than you or worse than you? If you've never made a mistake, good for you. You were never challenged hard enough. If you never made a mistake in your life, that means you never tried. Make mistakes every single day. Go out there and try to do everything that you can. Don't throw away all of your hard work that you had just because you're afraid of making a mistake. I mean, look at Elon Musk. Everybody remember the presentation of his new truck? And the bulletproof, unbreakable glass? You guys know that was a PR stunt, right? No, seriously, everybody knows this, right? He broke it on purpose because it became an overnight internet sensation. His unbreakable glass broke. And because it broke, it was on the news. And because it was on the news, it was on the internet. Because it was on the internet, he went through and had record pre-sales of the new truck. So once again, did he fail? Or did he fail on purpose in order to increase his business? Right? Really think about that. Double your sales conversions. Okay, easier said than done, right? We need to double your sales conversions. You may not be able to help everyone find the right market or financing or item that you need during a down market, but you should still sit down with as many as you can today. I tell people, I developed this back when I first started out in the industry. I had my top 100. Anybody familiar with a concept like that? So I don't work Saturdays, and I don't work Sunday. I like to sleep in. What? Okay. But every single day I call 5 people. Because if I call 5 people a day, that's 100 people a month I talk to. And out of those people in 1 month, if they give me anything of value, I keep them in and I talk to them again next month. Okay. Because when I first started out, I realized I just need 100 people referring me business. That's it. 100 people referring me business, and within 1 year I'll be a millionaire. Okay. I like that. If they didn't refer me business, after 3 months, I put them in my top 500, and I would call them once a quarter. Pretty easy. Now, I know a lot of you won't do this, or you're like, that's way too simple, right? But no matter what business you're in, if you have your 100 referral partners and you contact them, who here can't do 5 phone calls a day? You're too busy. You don't have enough time. 5 phone calls. Well, here's a deep, dark secret. You hope it's voicemails, right? I loved voicemails. And what you do is you don't call them for business. I'm not going to call you, hey, what's your first name? Hey, Jessica, how's things going? Do you have anybody who wants to advertise on WRA News? Guess what's going to happen with Jessica next time I call? Click. Voicemail. You become a card-carrying member of the NFL. No friends left. Okay? So what you do is I'm going to look up Jessica on social media. I'm going to see what she's been doing. Oh, you were at the MoRE conference. How'd that go? And we're going to talk about that. Oh, yeah, did you learn anything about advertising? Oh, perfect. And at the end of the conversation, then I'm going to ask her if there's anything I can do for her, for anybody else. So that way the conversation is always about who? Jessica. And just because I don't get a deal off Jessica today, do I throw her away? Do I say, sorry, see ya, maybe I'll see you next year, right? No. Because just because somebody's not ready today doesn't mean they're not ready tomorrow, especially if you're dealing with high-ticket items. You need to make sure you go through. In fact, one thing I absolutely love, I tell my employees this a lot. You go through and you don't pass up anything along the way, right? You go through, you talk with everybody, you gather their information, and then you build a relationship with them. Because at the end of the day, and everybody knows this, but this buzzword, relationships matter. But who here actually does that on a daily basis? Do you reach out to the people, your clientele? Do you use a CRM? Do you know what a CRM is? Yes, perfect. So take the sale if it comes, which it can't if you don't have the conversation, right? But make the goal to win the hearts of your prospects so you're the first person they call when the market returns. Because as we mentioned in the back there, yeah, it's down right now, but the market will return, right? The Great Recession, the Great Depression, the Great Sleep-In Day of 2023 did not happen in Vegas, right? All of these things, all the things that you're doing will make sure that you go along and you have people that trust you. Another thing that I like to tell my employees is we go through, anybody here love to fish? I love to fish, okay? What you may not know, yes, I was born in Utah, Heber City, but I grew up in Germany. And over there, you couldn't fish like you can in the U.S. I remember when we moved back here, I was so surprised. I could go fishing, and not just one day a year, right? I can go deep sea fishing. I can go fishing in ponds and lakes. I can catch and release. This is great. And so I always like to take these analogies and bring them back to my employees. I talk about everybody wants to hunt the whale, right? The big fish. Everybody hunting whales right now in your business? Anybody? A few chuckles. Nobody's hunting whales? Maybe, kind of. Yes, thank you. I appreciate it. I believe all of you are hunting that big deal right now, whether or not you admit it. And I tell my employees, listen, it's okay to look for the big deal. It's okay to hunt for whales or the big fish. But you know what? I can get fat and happy off sardines. So don't pass up the deals, even though they're a little bit smaller today, simply because you're looking for a bigger deal tomorrow. The big deals will come, right? The big deals will make sure that you can continue to have business and continue to pay your bills. Investors, I invest. And yes, it's great when we get those big land deals. Right now we're doing, anybody here familiar with the Hawaiian Islands? Island of Kona? So just south of the Kona airport, we built a golf course. And now after that golf course, we're developing a whole bunch of homes. The smallest home there is 16 million. That's a whale. Well, to get to that point, we invested in a lot of sardines, right? Because at the end of the day, we got fat and happy off those. So as we move along, make sure you fill up your toolbox. Make sure you have every single item that you have. During a good market, you only need a few tools to survive, right? I remember the finance world everybody talks about, oh yeah. Before the Great Recession, you could swing a chicken and hit a loan. Anybody hear that saying? Right? If you have a heartbeat and you can stand up, you can get a loan. Nowadays, it's not so much that way, right? Nowadays, you actually have to have good credit score, a good job. Fill up your toolbox with things necessary during the good times and the bad times. Some of those tools that we have here, Rocket Mortgage, they unveiled a 1% down payment program. Okay, this you can find it on wrenews.com and see that there. Another one we have that we reported on, if we make the clicker work. So Plunk announced 3 new partnerships. One of them is Calc. Did you know you can buy a new home? Calc will give you the money while you're waiting to sell your current home. They'll go through and lend that money to you and make sure that you make it happen. Once again, go to wrenews.com and you can find that there. Drive the market and emerge a leader. History has shown us that those companies that drive the market during the downturn, as we talked about before, they'll emerge as industry leaders when the market returns. Use the tactics we've talked about today to drive your market by pumping up your advertising, double your sales conversions, and filling up your toolbox. And you will come out and be the ones who drive the market. Now, we do only have about a minute and a half left. I would love to go through and answer any questions anybody has. Oops. All right. Here we go. If we can get that laptop turned off real fast before everybody has so much fun reading all my emails somehow. You just pull that HDMI out of there. That would be fantastic. Thank you. Whew. Apparently, Mirza told me that was a really good idea. So, no time for questions. All right, I apologize, no time for questions. But if you do have anything, go to wrenews.com. You can contact me there. Once again, John Stevens. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful conference.